Hey everybody, how you doing? Mark here, standing in my kitchen, ready to make dinner yet again tonight. What do you mean I'm not in my kitchen? Oh yes, I am. This is my favorite kitchen to cook in, the great outdoors. Yes, Jen and I are out camping. I got my wolf pup trailer sitting right over there. And tonight what we are going to do is we are going to do skirt steak right on the coals of a campfire. I tell you, this is awesome. You'll love this because there's no recipe. The only ingredient is the skirt steak. That's it. So anyway, what we need to do is we need to get the fire going so I can get a nice bit of coals, and we'll slap the meat right on the coals and cook it. It only takes like 5 to 7 minutes, doesn't take long at all. So you see that nice little tripod grill contraption on my fire pit there? We're going to actually remove that. Let's take that off. We don't need this. Okay. That's all I need, right down there. I need to get a fire going, and that's going to be a little bit. Okay, so as you can probably tell by the smoke, I do have the fire going now. It'll take a little while before it really builds up and gets really strong. And that wood is probably maybe 2 inches wide. And, you know, it's just what I consider kindling. And then I've got a bundle of wood on the ground here, still wrapped in its plastic, which I will cut off in a bit. And once the fire really gets going, I'm going to start putting the larger logs on. I need a lot of good coals in order to cook this meat, okay? Be patient with it. If you're doing this at home and you're using your charcoal, you know, in your grill, you know, a full chimney of charcoal, get it going, get it ripping hot, pour it out, and then you'll have the same thing that I'm doing here, okay? Just a really good coal bed is all I'm looking for. Okay, so my fire is really going really quite well here, and I want to start getting some of these bigger pieces on so they get a lot of time to burn up and create my embers down at the bottom. So I'm going to start putting some of these larger pieces on. All right, I'll let those burn up a little bit, and we'll have a nice bed of coals, and then we'll get the meat on. Oh yeah, fire's going real good, guys. Fire's going real well. We'll be eating in probably about 20 minutes. Okay guys, since we're sitting here waiting for the fire to get nice and coal-y, I don't know. But I wanted to show you, this is what I'm using, okay? This is a skirt steak, okay? I've got about 2 pounds here, and this is just for Jen and I, and yes, we will probably have leftovers, and we're also going to do some potatoes, but she's actually going to cook them off in our camper here. She wants to use the microwave for the potatoes. Okay, whatever. But I still get to cook meat on fire. That's what I like. So, as you can see on the grain of the meat, look at that striation right there. Look at those long meat fibers, okay? That's also a bad thing about this meat. If I was to cut this in a way that those long fibers stay intact, it's a very, very tough cut of meat, okay? And we don't want that. We like things that are more tender, okay? So what we're gonna do is that when I cut this, I'll probably cut it in portions and only have maybe about a 5 or 6 inch area. And then from that, I will cut across in little thin strips, and we'll cut across the grain of that meat, and it'll be nice and tender and oh, so good. Yep, so just keep on feeding the fire. Make sure you're making it big enough to get a lot of good ashes in there, okay? We need those coals. So lots of wood. All right, you can see down there, I've already got a good amount of coals going. That is exactly what I'm looking for. And once the flames are pretty much gone, it's time to cook. So not too much longer. Oh, and a helpful hint too, if you're wanting to do this and you're using firewood from campsites or something like that, make sure you're using hard woods, okay? The oaks, the elms, the maples and stuff like that. Don't go for spruce and pines and stuff like that, okay? Those things have kind of like oily tar chemicals in the wood, and if you try to cook over pine of any sort, you're just going to get this really nasty, off-putting, almost, it would be like French kissing a smoker when you go eat, okay? It's just going to be nasty. All right, guys, now all I'm doing is just kind of scattering the coals around, getting a nice big wide base here. Grab my meat. This is the little styrofoam tray it came in. Give this a quick swishing. What you're doing is blowing up all that ash. I want the ash gone. And then we just do that. We're going to leave it there for about maybe 3 minutes. And I know what you're thinking, Mark, you're going to burn it. No, I am giving this its best opportunity to char. You got to remember, in order to have fire, you need to have oxygen. With that big piece of meat on there, it's cutting off the oxygen, but the heat is still there. So you will not have fire. Okay, guys, that was roughly 3 minutes. Let's see how it's looking. Shake off some of those. Give this another good fanning here. And we'll place it down on some fresh coals. Now you can see where the meat was, almost all that stuff is just like barely lit anymore. So another couple of minutes and the skirt steak will be done. Okay guys, so what I've got out here on the table, I've got a piece of aluminum foil. When the skirt steak comes off, we're going to put the steak here, probably fold it up a little bit because it's so long. And then we'll actually roll it up in the aluminum foil and kind of keep the heat in. And then we're going to leave it that way for about 10 minutes, just for the heat to kind of subside and the muscle fibers relax and all those juices get back into the meat, okay? So that's all we got going on here. I got a little salt and pepper. If you want, you can put some salt and pepper on after it's cooked. Do not salt and pepper it before, okay? Pepper will just burn up anyway. Salt, maybe, but again, you might pull up moisture, and with that kind of meat, you actually need that moisture in there, so don't salt and pepper before you cook. All right, here we go. I've got the pan underneath the foil here, just as a little heat barrier from the tablecloth. But look at that. I know what you're going to say. Oh, Mark, look at all that ash on there, and that's going to be disgusting, and blah, blah, blah. You know what? No. That ash is going to soak up with the meat juices, and it will make one of the best sauces you've ever had with your steak. Okay, this is like one of our top steak recipes, and I don't even like calling it a recipe. Nice and tightly wrapped. We are going to let this sit here for at least 10 minutes. At least 10 minutes. 15 would be great. 20 might even be better, depending on how thick your beef was, okay? But this is just going to sit here and rest while we go finish up the rest of dinner. And then when we come back out, we're going to cut on this and slice it up. It's going to be great, great, great. Okay, everybody, this is it. Time to take out the meat. Look at all those juices. Yum, yum. Just like melting in there. Typically what we will do, we'll take a section here and then just lop it off, maybe about a 5 or 6 inch portion. You can see the striations of the meat. you cut across that, just like that. If you can do it at an angle, that's even better. If you can't, don't worry about it. A little pink yet in the middle, that's great. And the thinner you guys can cut this stuff, the better it's going to be. It's going to be more tender. All right, there we go. There's Jen's portion right there. I will pick up another portion, slice it off for myself. And the exact same thing, just try to give nice thin slices. Look at all those juices running through there yet. Oh, just look at that, guys. God. And just take a little schnibble here and take a bite. How do you? That's so good. So how is it? Is it tender enough for you?
Yes.
This is really good. I love making these. Well, guys, if you have not tried cooking pretty much any steak directly on your coals, you've got to try it. Okay, it is so good and so easy. It is literally just the method. Don't worry about seasonings or anything. Get the method down first. Then you can start marinating the meats, okay? All right, guys, that is the remnants of a meal formerly known as dinner. It was very good. I'm sorry I didn't really explain the meal too much, but that stuff is just really, really good. And once I started eating, because I went on that big hike today, I just wanted to eat. So I kind of said, heck with it, let's just eat, and I'll end the video later. Well, now it is later. So that beef is awesome. Just remember, the trick to it is to make sure you got full hardwoods, no pine wood at all, okay? And then when you're slicing, make sure you slice nice and thin across the grain of the meat. It's easy to see the grain, okay? So it's really easy to know which way to cut. And finally, don't season the meat beforehand, okay? The pepper's just gonna burn on the coals, and the salt will draw moisture out of the meat, and you don't want that. You want to keep that moisture in there. Now, Jen did salt her meat, and in fact, I did too. It needs a little salt, okay? Hell, the human body needs salt, but just a light sprinkling is all you need. Don't go heavy on the salt, and that's it. Now, if you want to do something more intense, you can marinate the meats, okay? There are a lot of recipes out there, a lot of Mexican style restaurants and stuff like that. I'll marinate that meat, and then when they cut it, they use it for their fajitas or their tacos or stuff like that, okay? So absolutely you can do it. You can use a store-bought marinade and just let it sit in there for maybe like a day or so, and then take it out, throw it on the grill, throw it on the coals, and cook it the exact same way. It still turns out really, really good. So I want to say thank you so much for watching this video. I love the comments. I love the feedback you guys give me. So please make a comment down below. If you have any questions about the technique or anything like that, any concerns about cooking it on the coals themselves, please feel free to ask, okay? I'll answer them the best I can. And if I can't, maybe somebody else out there can. All right, so this is Mark saying thanks again for watching, and stay tuned next week. We are going to go hiking, and I think I'm going to go out to the John Muir Trail section of Kettle Moraine. We haven't been there for a while, and I think we need to get back. So we're going to do that. After that, a motorcycle ride? I don't know. I really don't. I would like to try to get out on a camping trip on the bike, but maybe not. It might be a new rustic road. Could be even a rustic road I've never been on, so who knows. So stay tuned every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Central Time. That's when all my videos go up. All right, this is Mark saying thanks again for watching, guys. See you on the road. Bye.